Rebecca Edler is here from the Bank of Luxembourg, and today's show is all about tips and tricks. We've got some tips for financial success after those kiddos graduate from college. And this is, well, for a lot of people that just happened actually back in May and June. So some of those college kids still out there looking for a job. Some of them have found jobs, but again, we want them on the road to success. And Rebecca has some really great tips for us. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Amy.
Well, I've got one in college. He's a freshman. You've got just a little one, but it'll be here. Time flies, Rebecca.
Yes.
It really, really does. So tip number one, you've got 5 tips to financial success after the students graduate from college. You know, especially if they started working, maybe they're like, oh, this is nice, I've got some money. You got to be careful with that money, right?
You really do. A lot of times everybody's thinking this is the best time to get rid of that clunker I might have had through high school and college. I want to buy my first brand new car. And typically when you're coming out of college, it is going to be an entry-level position and your pay not be what you're expecting it to be. So going out and buying that brand new car off the lot may not be the best financial decision. Maybe you haven't had a car payment in quite some time. Looking at a car that's maybe a nicer used car, 1 to 3 years old, could be a better option than buying that brand new shiny one right off the lot.
Very good advice. All right, tip number 2, get in the budget habit. Now, don't get turned off by the B word. I love that idea where, saving money and maybe, saying no every once in a while or shopping sales, that can actually be kind of fun.
It can be. You want to make sure you come up with some sort of a financial spending plan. Typically when you're coming out of college, you're going to have a lot of expenses you may not be used to. You're going to have rent, utilities, some things maybe your parents were taking for in the past with insurance for both your vehicle, also your health care insurance. You might have some student loans that you're leaving school with. So you do want to make sure you know all of your income and then all of your expenses. Don't be afraid of the budget.
Yeah, and now is, perfect opportunity to put a plan together, take a look at all of it. And those student loans are not cheap either, so you need to pay those back. Don't forget about those. Smart money move number 3, use envelopes with cash to keep that budget on track. Explain that.
When you're starting to come up with your budget, one of the easiest things to do is actually what's called the envelope system. It may not be a great long-term solution, but at least for the first 5 or 6 months, the envelopes are really going to help you figure out where your money is going and what you're doing with those expenses. So you're literally going to pull out the box of envelopes, and on each envelope you're going to write down what that expense is. So if it's rent, utilities, car payments, cell phone, entertainment, whatever that expense is going to be. And then once you receive your paycheck, you're going to take the dollars that you need to allocate into that envelope to make sure that expense is taken care of for the month. If you don't have the money in the envelope, you're not going to be spending the money. It's also a great way to start teaching your children the difference between consequences and rewards. So for instance, if they're out of money in the entertainment envelope and they really want to do something fun, they're going to have to figure out where they want to cut back on that budget for the rest of the month so they can go do that entertainment that they were looking at doing.
Great idea. I love that. All right, number 4, don't move in with your parents thinking of moving back in with your parents to save money. So that's not an automatic. I know that happens for a lot of people, but maybe that's not always the best idea.
It may not be. If you are going to be moving back home with your parents, one thing to do is to make sure that both the student and also the parent are both going to be disciplined. Make sure there's some sort of a rent involved. And if there are going to be rent dollars involved from the parent side, one great tip for them is to actually set all those dollars aside, and when their student is moving back out again or the young adult is moving back out on their own, that might be really nice money to give back to them for a nest egg, either for their first apartment, they have some sort of a down payment, or also some expenses that they might be using for purchasing that first home.
Great
It might
idea.
be a little surprise for them.
Oh, that'd be a nice one. And last but not least, educate yourself about personal finance. Really, this is going to be with you from here on out. So if you haven't learned it by this time, now's the time.
It really is. If you go out to the website for the bank, not only do we have some great information out there, but we also have a number of podcasts. And those are really easy to download onto your MP3 player, and you can listen all you want to about different financial tips.
And the other cool thing about your bank is that you'll sit down and talk with people, put up a plan. They'll go over all this with your college graduate. Parents can sit down together and put a plan together. So
we sure will. We have the 8 locations throughout the area, and we'll be more than happy to sit down both with that college student that graduated and then also with the parent, and we'd be able to put everything together for them.
Really nice. It's more than just a bank. It's about service, which is great. Yeah. Bank of Luxembourg, Rebecca Edler, great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Amy.
Great tips.